This offseason's biggest free agent in Patrick Kane has not yet found a landing location this offseason, but with recent reports, we may now know a landing location for Patrick Kane, the ideal landing location for Patrick Kane. I can guarantee you it is not what you've expected. We're going to go all over this in this video, but before we do, we notice that 97.6% of you are not subscribed to the channel. Now, if you're looking for a news source for this upcoming season, make sure to stay a while subscribed. We're going to be covering the entire league, and as well as your favorite team, whoever it may be, the whole league, everything about it. We'll be here breaking news and everything. So make sure to subscribe if you do want to stay on this channel. Get all the news from us. It'll be very fun along the way. The season's upcoming, and I'm sure you won't want to miss any breaking news coming out from this season. But like I said, Patrick Kane may now have an ideal landing location in recent reports. This is coming out from John Dietz of the Daily Herald. Watch for Patrick Kane to sign with the Detroit Red Wings. Someone who knows Kane very well said that Kane told him he wanted to follow Alex Debrincat if/when he was able. Of course, there has to be mutual interest between him and the Detroit Red Wings, so let's see if the Detroit Red Wings extend an olive branch. Now, I've seen a lot of replies to this tweet and just a lot of responses to these reports saying that Detroit Red Wings fans just don't want Patrick Kane on their roster, and you gotta think why not? You know, Patrick Kane still is a very good player at 34 years old. He came here last season with 57 points in 73 games, but 45 of those coming in 54 games with the Chicago Blackhawks, where we know he didn't have too much help last season. We'll say that before he got traded to the New York Rangers. But I gotta say, I think that Detroit Red Wings is an ideal landing spot, and that I guess Detroit Red Wings fans do have a good reason for not wanting Patrick Kane, but the reason may be not what you think. You know, in 2009, he went on a conference call and said, "Living Detroit, I actually hated the Red Wings, hated the Pistons, and hated all the Detroit teams." He said on Friday in a conference call from 2009. He's from Buffalo, but, you know, he played with the U.S. National Development Program, which is in Ann Arbor, from 2004 to 2006, and then he went to the London Knights in 2007 and got drafted first overall from there, having excellent seasons with the National Development Program and the London Knights. We know that. But you go, that got a sore spot for the Detroit Red Wings fans, people of Detroit. You know, when a guy comes out and says that, that can't feel good. And you're gonna have a grudge towards that player for, you know, a long time. But that was more than a decade ago, so I think some Red Wings fans should put that behind them. You know, Patrick Kane is much more mature now. I'm sure he probably still don't think that way about Detroit. He's played there a bunch. He's gone there a bunch, I'm sure. So I think that you should put that behind them, because Patrick Kane should definitely be considered by the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings right now, I have them somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, probably between 3 and 5. But if they add Patrick Kane, I can see them going higher on that list. You know, the roster right now is very good. They have a good prospect pool and a very good offensive core right now as a whole anyways. You can see here with the acquisition of Alex Debrincat, with Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin, and Debrincat on that first line, with Jonathan Bergen, JT Compher, and David Perron on that second line. I think if you can add Patrick Kane anywhere to that top 6, it will be an automatic boost to the offense on this team, which is already very good. They've got some good prospects on defense coming up as well. You know, you got Mo Seider, who's an excellent defenseman. So I think that the acquisition of Patrick Kane right now for this team would be very good. You know, I don't know if the Detroit Red Wings are there yet, being able to make a Stanley Cup, but you gotta assume that Patrick Kane will automatically make that team better and give them a higher chance, whether or not they can make that Stanley Cup yet. You know, they're going to be very close in the next coming years. I have them starting to go up that Atlantic Division, starting to make a bigger impact on the playoff scenario around the NHL. So, you know, Patrick Kane, depending on what kind of situation he's looking for, he's obviously not looking to be that star player anymore on a team that is going into a rebuild or anything. He's looking for a Stanley Cup, and, you know, he won't want that much money, I wouldn't say, compared to what he's been making in his career. Right now, the Detroit Red Wings have 5.156 projected cap space. Now, you can maybe get Patrick Kane in that. They have the roster just about full. The roster size 22 out of 23, so you may have to make another move here or there to be able to fit in the cap if you do decide to get Patrick Kane. His rehab, has been going a lot better than he anticipated. He's going at a quicker pace, so we initially expected Patrick Kane to not rush a decision, you know, maybe go into the NHL season before signing a deal. But now with this, Patrick Kane may want to sign a deal quicker, get into a preseason, see if he can make the NHL for the start of the year after hip surgery this offseason. So, Detroit Red Wings, I think it's time to, get some conversations going. Even if it's not something you expected to happen this offseason, it's kind of hard to pass up on a player like Patrick Kane, even in this point of his career, 34 years old, but still putting up a quality point production. He will help those young guys out, certainly, and playing with a former teammate in Alex Debrincat, I think it is a good idea to extend some talks with Patrick Kane and his team to see if it would be mutual interest if this report is true. Now, obviously, this is not saying Patrick Kane is going to the Detroit Red Wings for sure. I'm sure Detroit Red Wings fans, some of you would absolutely love it. Some of you may hate it, but I think a lot of you guys got to accept it and just give it a thought, sleep on it, and just see how you think, because it will be a very important acquisition for this team if this does happen. The experience from Patrick Kane on that dynasty Chicago team, it might not be in the favor of Detroit Red Wings fans thinking about that, but you got to admit, it was a dynasty, and he was a major, if not the most important part of that team. And he might do that for the next few years with the Detroit Red Wings if it is a multi-year, maybe a 1 year. But it is very important that the Red Wings need to extend this offer. They have to do something with Patrick Kane, whether it's conversation, give him a contract offer for 1 year, see how it works. I think Patrick Kane is a must-sign for the Detroit Red Wings. If they do want to get better, whether it's a playoff year or not for them, whether it's a Stanley Cup run or not for them, they need to do this to be able to develop the team more, get this team together, and have a lot less worry on their younger guys, a lot less pressure on them to be able to need to take a step up. So let us know in the comments below. We love reading your comments what you think the Detroit Red Wings should do with Patrick Kane, whether or not they should extend an offer to him, reach out to him. If the Detroit Red Wings is a good fit for Patrick Kane, we want to hear it. Let us know in the comments. But like I said at the beginning of the video as well, if you are missing any news this NHL season and you want a spot to get some new news, make sure to subscribe, because we're going to be posting it all throughout the year, from the NHL, from the teams over in Europe, to the AHL, everything, as well as your favorite team. We're going to be covering all the teams. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any news from this NHL season. We have a lot. We're expecting a lot. It's going to be a very good season. Not coming up in too long. So that's all we have for this video. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and also make sure to subscribe like I said. But that's all. Signing out. Thank you for watching. See you later.